Welcome back to Talk Travel with Samantha, the show that takes you around the world without making you unpack your suitcase. I'm Samantha from Fabulous Adventures Travel, and every week we're talking about incredible destinations, insider tips, helping you travel smarter and vacation harder. Today, we're heading somewhere that feels like the Caribbean, but you don't even need a passport. We're talking about somewhere in our backyard. Can you guess it? We're talking about Key West. Now, here's the thing. People think Key West is just Duval Street, a sunset celebration, and maybe a slice of key lime pie. They're missing about 90% of what makes this island magical. Today, I'll tell you where to go beyond the crowds, the best beaches, where Hemingway really drank, the one photo everyone takes, where locals actually hang out, and whether Key West is worth the drive. So grab your flip-flops, because somewhere it's 5 o'clock, because we're headed to the end of the road. Let's start with one of the greatest road trips in America, the Overseas Highway. US Highway 1 stretches about 113 miles from mainland Florida all the way to Key West. You'll cross 42 bridges. Water surrounds you almost the entire drive. It's honestly one of those drives where you'll find yourself slowing down, not because of the traffic, but because you can't stop staring. Like, it's just beautiful. If you've never driven across a 7-mile bridge, put it on your bucket list. Windows down, music up, it feels like you're driving across the ocean. Now, yes, you can fly directly into Key West, but if time allows, drive. Just the one time, I will tell you, because it's gorgeous that first time and there's nothing else that compares to it. But man, is it a drive, and it's a long one, and it just keeps going. And if the traffic stops, the traffic's crazy. But you will want to stop in Isla Morada for lunch, marathon for photos, maybe feed some tarpon. The journey becomes part of the vacation. So it really is a cool drive. So if you don't live in this part of the area, which I know that majority of the time this radio show is in Orlando, if you don't live in this part of the area, Key West is a very easy short 4-hour drive from Miami. But what I want to say is that it might be a drive that you only do once, like me. I have since gone to Key West via cruise ship and I haven't flown in yet, but that's my plan, to actually fly in at some point, because I think Key West is amazing. So it's actually one of my favorite destinations here in Florida. I love Key West. So if you are from the Orlando area, you listen to the radio show in the mornings or in the evenings on Sunday, and you've never been to Key West, trust me when I tell you, go to Key West. So I am going to tell you something, that being in Orlando, we have a really cool, quick way of getting there. Out of Lakeland. So Lakeland has an airline that flies out of there super, super cheap. It's called Avelo Airlines. So it is a direct flight from Lakeland, which is, if you don't know where that is, it's between Orlando and Tampa. And it's like, I think like $50 to $100 one way. So well worth it if you've already done the drive, because that drive is brutal. But however, if you've never done it, it's gorgeous and you should stop along the way. Honestly, I think if I were to do it again and drive, I would definitely stop and stay in some of the islands prior and before I get to Key West, and then come back that way, because that was a drive. But it's gorgeous. I will say that. Oh, it was breathtaking. Like, the pictures that I took, and I just kept taking pictures and pictures and pictures, and I was like, as if I've never seen water before, as if I've never seen blue water like that before. So when people always ask me, being a travel agent, of course, they always ask me, oh, where can I go in the US that has the bluest water like the Caribbean? It's the Keys. The Keys have the bluest water as the Caribbean. So it's like being in the Caribbean, but still in the US. So that's kind of cool. So you don't need a passport, which is awesome. So a lot of people always say, where can I go without a passport? Key West. So let's talk about what makes Key West different. Here's what surprises first-time visitors. Key West doesn't really feel like Florida, right? It feels like somewhat mixed of the Caribbean, New Orleans, and Old Havana, and quirky artist colonies together. So it's this mix of vibe that they have their own specific vibe, which is really, really cool about Key West. And it's super laid back. Everyone's in flip-flops. No one dresses up. They're in shorts and a t-shirt. Sometimes they're in, half bathing suit, half, bottoms on. Like, it's very, 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 very laid back. So the architecture is colorful, the roosters wander the street, those crazy roosters, and no one seems to know what day it is. And honestly, nobody cares. The pace slows down and people walk instead of rush. So like I said, flip-flops, are everywhere and they're accepted and it's wonderfully weird. So that's exactly why people fall in love with it, because it's just chill. It's also the US, which is nice, right? So like you don't have to worry about anything being completely different where you're like, this is weird, I don't like this. It's still the US, but you are like in the Caribbean, which is crazy cool. So I do want to talk about the most popular thing in Key West, of course, is Duval Street, right? Not the most popular, but it probably is actually the most popular. So let's talk about Duval Street. It is the funnest street. It spans from like one side of the island to the other side. It's very, very long, but majority of the most popular areas are in certain parts of the street, right? So there's a couple of parts in the middle that are kind of like meh, there's not much going on, and then there's two main parts of it. So it's about a mile long and it's packed with enough restaurants, bars, boutiques, live music, ice cream shops, art galleries, and people watching for an entire weekend. You can spend a lot of time on Duval Street. During the day, you can browse local art, grab a Cuban coffee, pop into little hidden courtyards. At night, live music pours out of almost every doorway. So I do want to say it's not just at night that music happens. It happens the minute the doors open to the bars, which I think is so cool. It kind of reminds me a lot of Nashville, that as soon as you get on Duval Street, you're hearing music coming from every direction and you just don't know where to go. You're like, oh, I like that music. No, I like that one. So it's so much fun to pub crawl there because of the fact that there's just music constantly. And you can start early because, you know, as we get older, maybe we just don't hang out as late as we used to. So you totally can start early and start pub crawling and listening to music. So it's not just at night. And you don't have to obviously drink to enjoy Duval. You can just wander and listen to music. So that's super fun. So some of the best entertainment, of course, is just simply grabbing a drink, sitting outside, and watching the parade of humanity walk by. I can say one of my favorite spots to do that is the Bull and Bear on the second floor. And the second floor has this balcony that overlooks Duval Street, and it's so cool. You can people watch for days up there, I have to be honest. And a lot of people miss it. Like you can see it from the street, that second street or the second floor, but most people just miss it and don't think to go up there, but it's really great. And the breeze is nice up there as well. So it's a great spot because a lot of the places don't have outdoor seating. There's a lot of the bars that just don't have outdoor seating because it's just not the way that they were made. So that's one of my favorite. The Bull and Bear, second floor. Not the third, second. The third does other things. So get ready for the third. But the second is where you can people watch. Well, you can people watch on the third too, but well, that's for a whole nother short show. Jeez Louise. All right. You'll see chickens, of course, up there. You'll see street performance, bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, retirees, people dressed like pirates, and somehow it all feels completely normal. So I just love that about Key West. So every night, every evening, there's a sunset celebration. If you've never experienced it, it happens at Mallory Square. There are hundreds of people that gather there and they go to say goodbye to the sun. There's a lot going on there. It's hard to find a place to park. Honestly, I would say, make sure that you either Uber in, or if you're not staying right there in the area, or, walk from wherever you're staying, obviously. So because the sunset is literally an event, the street performers come out and they juggle fire, the musicians play, artists sell handmade crafts. It's a whole event every evening. And then everyone collectively turns toward the ocean, the sun disappears, the crowd applauds. Yes, they do. People actually clap for the sunset, and after seeing it, you'll understand why. It really is beautiful. So I will tell you, one of the cool things that I did was I actually did a sunset cruise, a private sunset cruise. And when you think private, you're like, oh my gosh, you probably have this big, massive yacht. It actually wasn't. It was a little boat that had, the bow in the front was open with seating, and then there was seating in the back. It was not a pontoon. It was a normal power boat, but the front was open. And we rented it. Or we had a captain and we rented it from them and we watched the sunset. He parked it with millions of what it felt like millions of other boats out there with us, and it was just beautiful. And we were looking for that green poof at the end, and unfortunately we did not see it, so we were kind of bummed about that. I've yet to see this elusive green poof that happens at the end when the sun disappears behind the water. I've yet to see that. So I'm on the hunt for this green poof of light that happens when the sun disappears. So There are definitely a couple ways that you can see the sunset, not just, from Mallory Square. There is a private island called Sunset Key across from Key West that's absolutely gorgeous, and you can definitely see the sunset from there. I would suggest making a reservation for dinner because it is a private island and they do not allow you over there unless you have a reservation or you're staying on the island at the hotel there. So that is one of my suggestions for hotels is Sunset Key, and definitely go see the sunset there because they have it complete outdoors, which is absolutely gorgeous and it's just beautiful. So that, go to Mallory Square, Sunset Key Island, or do a private boat rental and you will get to see the sunset. But it's well worth it. It's absolutely gorgeous from that area. You're listening to Talk Travel with Samantha. Planning your next getaway? Whether it's Key West, Europe, Alaska, or a luxury cruise, and I'm going to throw in a river cruise in there because, they're so lovely. My team at Fabulous Adventures Travel handles every detail so you can simply enjoy the journey. Visit Fabulous Adventures Travel online and let's start planning your next adventure. Now, back to Key West. So let's talk a little bit about the best food, right? You can't leave Key West without trying some fresh seafood. It's all about the seafood over there, and it should be because the entire place is, of course, surrounded by water, so everyone's fishing, right? So stone crab when it's in season, the lobster, there's some great lobster rolls around there, conch fritters, Cuban sandwiches, and of course, the very infamous key lime pie. So now here's the debate, right? Is it frozen, traditional, chocolate dipped? Everyone has an opinion. But personally, I recommend trying more than one. Key lime pie is actually really good. There's a couple of great places. Kermit's comes to mind. Everyone loves Kermit's, and there's another one. I can't think of the name of it. But, you can't go wrong with the key lime pie. So one thing Key West does exceptionally well is waterfront dining. There are some really, really nice waterfront dining areas. And like I mentioned earlier about that Sunset Key, that you have to book ahead of time, and it is, of course, a private island, and that is just stunning over there, and the food is phenomenal. So let's talk about Mr. Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway lived here throughout the 1930s. His home became one of the island's biggest attractions. But here's what people remember most. The cats. It makes me laugh that people go there to see the cats. I'm like, what the heck is happening here? So descendants of Hemingway's original six-toed cats still roam the property today. Many still have six toes. They're celebrities in their own right, of course, right? The house itself gives an incredible glimpse into Hemingway's life. And yes, you can still see the writing studio where he created some of his famous works. The cats part just cracks me up. I'm sorry, I can't get over it. I keep laughing about it. So here's a point that everyone obviously goes to, right? The southernmost point. Let's be honest, you're taking the pictures. Everyone does it. You got to go. Recently it was moved to be refurbed or whatever, that area to be refurbed and probably made so that people didn't almost get killed. So the funny thing about it is, of course, it's on like this corner spot, right where the ocean is, obviously, because it's the southernmost point. You can't go any more south than that. So it's on like this like round corner of a street, but it gets filled with so many people that it stops traffic and people are getting run over. And I don't know if they're really getting run over, but I'm sure they are, I have no doubt, or almost getting run over would be my guess. So I'm sure that that's what they were doing. But anyways, they moved the buoy at one point and put it somewhere so that people can go take a picture of it. This was just recent. It was in like the last year. I'm not sure if it's even moved back. And then they're going to put it back right where it used to be. And my guess is they created a bigger spot for everyone to take a picture and didn't stop too much traffic. I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows what they did, but it's interesting. Because if you move the buoy, they're not taking the buoy and, repainting it and making it look better. They're actually, maybe trying to make it a little safer for everyone. So I will tell you, there is a line. If you've never been, there's a line, and you will have to wait in line. So I have actually ridden a bike there a couple times, and I've also Ubered there. You can walk. It's not super far, but there's definitely will be a line. So go early in the morning if you don't want to wait in line, or later in the evening, so that it's not so long. I will tell you that I do prep the people around me when I'm in line, which is kind of funny, is that I literally say, listen, because the people, which should be the people in front of me and the people behind me, because I always say, listen, make sure you know what you're doing when you get up there. Here's my key point to this. If you're going to stand in this line, don't be the people that get up there and be like, oh, Tom, go stand over there. Samantha, you come over here. Oh, Sarah, you go over there. Jen, oh, you over there. No, know where you're going before you get up there. You are holding up the rest of the line. It doesn't matter. Can I tell you something? When Jim looks at that picture after you guys get home and he's like, oh my gosh, why is Jen standing by Dave over there? Like, nobody cares. So just know before you get in there how you're going to get in there. The line will go much faster. It makes my head spin. Also, this goes for Disneyland as well, or Disney. Any Disney place where you're going to go meet a character, know before you get in there where you're going to stand and have it. Here's a funny story. When we go as a travel agency and we go to Disney, I always tell everyone to, at the first picture, I say, okay, let's get into our spots. And then I go, okay, everyone remember where you stood. This is where we're going to stand for every picture. And every time we go up for the next character picture, I go, assume your positions. And they all go to their positions and no one knows. They're all like, okay, I know I'm supposed to stand next to Carrie and I'm supposed to stand next to Jessica. All right, good. I'm good to go. Smile, ting, go. And they're out. So that as a family, if you're going to go to this picture, did not hold up the line. Know where you're going to stand beforehand. Don't be like rearranging everybody like it's a Christmas picture or something. Nobody cares. Sorry, that was my rant for the day. So, get your picture taken and move on. All right, hidden gems. Let's talk about places that many visitors miss. So, the Fort Zachary Taylor State Park. Check that out. Locals love it. It's really, really pretty. It's home to arguably the best beach in Key West. Now, I want to point out that there's not many beaches in Key West. There's like these little, like most of the hotels, if you're going to a beach in Key West, you're not going to a beach in Key West. That's not what's there. So know that if you're going for beaches, you've missed it on the west side of Florida. You need to go back up to the west side. That's where all of our good beaches are. Key West, not a beach city. Not at all. But if you do want one and you're like, oh, I got to go to the beach, it is at Fort Zachary's Taylor State Park. 100% that beach is great. The snorkeling is excellent. The water is clear, and there's a fascinating Civil War history. Another hidden favorite, but a lot of people go there, so I wouldn't even call this a hidden favorite, honestly, is the Butterfly Conservatory. It's quick, but oh my gosh, so much fun. So hundreds of butterflies surround you inside the tropical glass habitat. It's peaceful, it's beautiful, and surprisingly relaxing. It's small, I will say, but definitely check that out. The other hidden gem that I told you about earlier, and I keep mentioning it, is that Sunset Key. It's a private island, and it's so great. So check that out. Water adventures. There's so many of them. So this is what I want to talk about with Key West. It's not a beach. It's not a beach town. Nope. Wipe that from your brain. Wipe that from your brain. Because it's actually a water, town, basically, right? You want to get on a boat. You want to go somewhere. So go snorkeling. Go take a snorkeling boat. There's tons of them. Go to a sunset sail, like I mentioned. Try paddleboarding. Rent a yacht. I've rented a yacht a bazillion times on there. It's one of my favorite things to do. You can also rent one of those little tiki huts and take your friends around and, go and drink as you go out in the tiki hut, which is super fun. You can rent a kayak and go through the mangroves. I've actually not just rented a yacht. I've also rented regular boats as well. So they're all smaller size boats if you don't want to spend all that money on a yacht. There's definitely that. Book a catamaran. The water is just beautiful. They will pull up to a sandbar and let you get out and go. I actually went to a deserted island once when we rented a boat, and oh my gosh, that was so cool. It had a swing in the trees. Oh my goodness. And the water came in. It was absolutely beautiful. So do that, rent a boat, tell them to take you to the private islands because it's absolutely beautiful because the water is unreal. You'll see tropical fish, rays, sea turtles, and dolphins. I've seen dolphins constantly. So super, super fun there. This is also one of the sport fishing capitals of the world. So as I mentioned, tarpon, mahi-mahi. They also have a lobster. They have a lobster season. I think it's lobster or maybe it's crab. Shoot, I can't remember. Every July. So check that out if that's your thing. So I do want to talk about day trips from there. There is a day trip to the Dry Tortugas National Park. I am dying to do this. It is on my list of things to do, but here's the catch. It's about 70 miles west of Key West, right? So you can't drive there. It is off the shore. It's its own little island. So most visitors arrive by ferry or seaplane. It's the home to Fort Jefferson, one of America's largest coastal forts. It has crystal clear water, outstanding snorkeling, very few crowds. It's unforgettable, and I'm dying to go. So I know that by seaplane is the fastest, but it's going to cost you the most money. And if I were to splurge on anything, it would be that seaplane. 100%. I would do the seaplane and go out there and just enjoy it. It's on my list. So do it. So let's talk about quickly where to stay. People always ask this, should I stay right on Duval Street? I gotta be honest, there's not many hotels on Duval Street. That's mostly gonna be your bed and breakfast. There are so many bed and breakfasts in these cute little houses. Oh my gosh, they're so stinking cute. In Key West, I would definitely try that, but there are a few hotels. There's not many in the downtown area. So one of the splurge places, of course, is going to be that Sunset Key and that private island that I keep mentioning. That's going to be a splurge. There are a couple of hotels right near the main area of Duval Street, so it's a very, very short walk if you want to be part of the nightlife and partying. And that would be the Hyatt and the Ocean Key Resort and Spa. Those are very, very close, very, very nice on the water. Really, really great. You can also see the ships, the cruise ships coming in and out from both of those hotels. If you want peace and quiet, you're going to want to stay a few blocks away. But like I said, there are a ton of options in terms of boutique inns, bed and breakfasts, and just really, really cool places to stay to enjoy the experience within walking distance. I do highly suggest staying in there. So the first time that I did stay in Key West, we stayed outside of the city pretty far. So it was not easy to get to and from the main portion of the city where we had stayed. But the price was much better, of course, than staying downtown. So the question that people always ask me is Key West expensive? The short answer, yes, of course it's expensive. It's super popular, right? Especially compared to much of the other Florida. Hotels are pricey because there's not many of them, right? The parking is limited and the restaurants add up quickly. But you don't have to spend a fortune to walk the island, watch the sunset, visit the beaches, explore historic neighborhoods, people watch on Duval, and some of the best experiences cost very little. So, I mean, going to see Hemingway's house is not going to cost you a massive fortune. It's really going to be about where you stay. So you can save money by staying outside of the city. So here are my quick insider tips. Go between late fall and spring for the nicest weather. Of course, it gets extremely hot in the summer and very humid, just like everywhere else in Florida. Book hotels early and wear comfortable shoes or flip-flops. Definitely bring your sunscreen, your reef-safe sunscreen, and rent bikes instead of driving. You definitely want to do that bike rental. Oh, we've had the best time. They do golf cart rental as well, and it looks like a lot of fun, but again, you're going to be hunting for that parking space to find the place to park to go to all the things. But the bikes, you could totally 100% find a bike rack to put it on. There was tons of them. So I will say that the biking was a great addition. I've absolutely loved biking, and you can bike around all of Key West. Like, it's super, super cool. So in closing, is Key West worth visiting? Of course, absolutely. I love Key West. I want to actually buy a place down there. That would be one of my just ultimate goals, is to own a place in Key West, because I just think it has the coolest vibe. I just really do. Between the chill and the fun and everyone's just there for a good time. I just love Key West. So absolutely it's worth it. Not because it has the biggest attractions, of course, like I said, but because it just has the best personality. It's quirky, relaxed, and somehow it just reminds you to slow down. So thank you so much for joining Talk Travel with Samantha. I am Samantha, your host. I own Fabulous Adventures Travel Agency, and we'd love to help get you to Key West. So contact us if you are looking to go there, or anywhere for that matter. Any of the places that we talk about, we would love to help get you there. You can visit us at www.fabulousadventurestravel.com, or if you have any questions or would like to ask me anything or talk to me about anything, you can visit me at www.talktravelwithsamantha.com. Thanks again for joining me, and I look forward to the next episode. Until then, travel smarter, vacation harder. We'll see you next time.